Shalom Israel. This is I.S.U.P.K. And you know what time it is? It is Friday. You know how we get down in I.S.U.P.K? What's the day? The Lashawan Qadash class. The Hebrew class, or as we like to call it in Atlanta, Hebrews 101. Alright? Of course, we know the Hebrews 101. We don't do too many fancy things. We like to focus on the basics, the foundation, if you will. Why? So when you got the pronunciations, you have to read for the Sabbath, read for the generals, read for the feast, read for your own pleasure. You got it down pat. Of course, when you go to other cities like Detroit, you go to places in Cali, Florida, New York, you got it down pat. All right? So let's get down. Of course, if you were just joining with us, this is how we always start off. Again, start off with the foundation, the basics, starting with our letters, all right? All right, so now, take it from the top. You got 22 letters in the Hebrew language. Here we go. Ah, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Za, Qua, Ra, Sha, Ba. All right. Now, again, going over Hebrew letters, pointing at the syllables or the characters in the ancient Hebrew, all right? Take it from the top. Ah, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya, Ka. Remember, we have a Ka, all right? Strong tone, soft tone. La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Za, Qua, Ra, Sha, Ba. All right. And now going over our Hebrew characters, our Hebrew letters, one last time, but this time in the Assyrian Hebrew. And we do tend to focus on the Assyrian Hebrew. Why? Because it is the most predominant text available. All right? Take it on top. Ah, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya, Ka. And remember, as always, there are a few letters, at least 5 letters, that will change their shapes. And they're there at the end of a word in the Assyrian text. All right? Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Za, Qua, Ra, Sha, Ba. All right. Now, getting into our lesson. And of course, we've said this a few times already. We have our focus scripture, or if you will, our review scripture. All right. This time we're going to focus on the ancient Hebrew, text. All right. So now, Trooper Gashan, you with me? No sweat. Also in the parts, if you could. Hey, hello on the park. You just chimed in. Hey, how about you, Sean? Wow, brother. Good to hear from you. All right. We're just tuning in. We're going into our scriptures. We're into the book of Lashawan, if you will, Lashawan, chapter 1, verse 7. Of course, this is our review scripture or our focus scripture, if you will. Also, the question, can you get that for me?
So what was that?
Book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 7.
Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7. Thanks. Okay.
Go ahead. Absolutely, absolutely. Fear of the Most High is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. All right. And again, this is as our focus scripture, or even our review scripture. I especially like to talk about this scripture. This is one of my favorite books, of course. But I like to talk about the scripture using it as a foundation scripture, because again, we need to fear the Most High. All right. This is why we are in captivity right now. This is why we're in oppression, because we as a people and our ancestors did not have the fear of the Most High. All right? They rejected His laws, they rejected His statutes and commandments. All right? And so now here we are now. All right? Slaving for our oppressor, being shot down in the streets by our oppressor, having our communities filled with drugs and poison. All right? Why? Simply because we did not adhere unto the words of the Most High. All right. So now let's try reading this in the Hebrew. Okay. I was saying, yeah, how will you die? You with me on the tube? No sweat. No sweat. All right. If you can read this for me in the ancient Hebrew. Okay, all right, no sweat, no sweat. I'll accept that one. Is it showing through, or you just not available on the TV right now? That's all.
I'm just not available on the TV.
No sweat, no sweat, no sweat. All right, go ahead and read it for me then.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 7. Yahanna, Yahweh, Yash, Yah, Da'ai, Kakavah, Wamasar,
All right. Sounds good, sounds good. So now just for our audience, I'll go ahead and read it in the ancient Hebrew. Okay? So now take it from the top. We have Yah, Ra'ah, Yahweh. Remember, the good thing about ancient Hebrew is we have what we call the bumpers and the bridges. At least that's what we call it in Atlanta. We have bumpers and bridges, okay? The bumpers will give it a single syllable, all right? A single syllable. And the bridge will bring the two characters together, creating one sound, all right? So again, you have Yah-Ra'ah, Yahweh, Ra'ashyah, Da'ai, Ka, Kama, Wa, Mawasar, Al-Yalyum, Bazwa, Pa. All right? Absolutely, absolutely. And again, going over the scripture, the fear of the Most High is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. All right? Especially this on that second part, fools despising wisdom and instruction. We went over this a few times already. The fools, especially in today's time, are people like Al-Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. Okay, essentially your Christian pastors, your so-called political leaders. These are the people who are trying to lead us, so-called lead us. Even our entertainers, they are fools. All right, they are fools because they despise wisdom and instruction. Okay, wisdom and instruction. They despise that. Okay, they would rather side with your oppressor to make money off of you. All right, they make money off of your blood, sweat, and tears. All right, while they sit up in the house with their feet propped up. You understand? Okay, they despise wisdom and instruction. And this wisdom and instruction is the instruction that comes from the Most High. Okay, but instead, our oppressors, or really our leaders, our so-called leaders, would rather take the instruction of the oppressor. Okay, rather take the instruction of someone who has historically and biblically killed, murdered their people. All right, and they still want to show love to that. All right, and We have to understand, again, why we are in this oppression because of this reason, okay? So now, continuing on, what's another reason to have the fear of the Most High, okay? And understand that we need that wisdom and instruction, okay? Let's continue on in this book, the book of Proverbs, and let's go to chapter 2, all right? Let's go to chapter 2. And now, let's focus on verse 12. Verse 12, all right? And today we're going to be writing in ancient, okay? So now, why especially do we need wisdom and instruction? All right? And I ask this question simply because as Christians going to church, and if you had questions, they were never quite answered in church. You never really had a reason to ask questions while in church. Why? Because you were simply there to be entertained. Okay? You were there to be entertained. You were there to, quote unquote, get a good word. All right? You were there to be encouraged no matter what was going on, and believing that whatever situation you had, God would make it all right. All right? But that is not the true case. All right? Talk to me.
What you just said is so heavy and so true. When I was in the Christian church, you know what I'm saying, go to some so-called Bible study, you know what I'm saying, and it's nothing like how we have class through the week, you know what I'm saying. It's nothing like that because most teachers, in the school they ask you, do you have any questions or any scripture you need broken down in the third, you know what I'm saying. But when you do that, and the officers in the school, the captain in the school, the generals in the school, they'll break down the scripture and give you understanding. But if you do that in the Christian church, you know what I'm saying, the preacher gonna think you trying to outshine him based on, you know what I'm saying, him not knowing the question, answer to the question, you know what I'm saying. He always think somebody trying to outdo him or something, make him look bad.
Yeah.
And because they don't have that wisdom and knowledge, it's gonna seem that way to them because, you should feel ashamed when you're out here telling people something that you really don't understand yourself.
No. That was a great point. That is a great point. You're absolutely right. And I can remember going to church and attending Bible study, and I never understood why, as a Christian, pastors would pass out pamphlets. And they would pass out pamphlets, and we would go over the pamphlets. Right? And I always thought it was interesting. Like, wait a minute. Like, why are we reading this? Why isn't the pastor just telling me what it is? And I thought it was so weird because he's reading somebody else's words. He's reading somebody else's interpretation. All right? And it was still confusing. And we never really asked questions about it. As the man said, and obviously Yahweh God said, you never asked questions about it. You just took it for face value. And if you did ask questions, all of a sudden now, there was a problem. All right? But here in I.S.U.P.K, we can ask questions. You're encouraged to ask questions. You're encouraged to ask questions. Why? We even talked about it one week. Why should you ask questions? Because the scriptures say to ask questions. The scriptures encourage you to ask questions. Why? So that you can gain that knowledge, that wisdom. And when you have knowledge and wisdom, guess what else you have? You have understanding. You have understanding as well. All right? And that's what we need, man. We need to have that wisdom and knowledge so we can have that understanding, okay? Because if you did that, if you had all those entities, come on in, talk to me.
Okay, we have a question on YouTube. So I named Yahanna. He said, can we get a breakdown on Yahuwah versus Yahweh? I think he said how to read it, how to write down and read it, basically.
A breakdown of Yahuwah versus Yahweh. Okay. Well, real quick, the easiest way I can break that down is check out the alphabet. You just saw that we went over the alphabet, we went over the letters, okay? And you did not see anything that referenced E, a O, or a U. You will not hear those. You will not hear that in the Hebrew language, in the true Hebrew language. You will not hear Yahuwah, okay? All you will hear are ahs and I's. All right. So that's why when we look at the scriptures, we reference back with that. It is Yahweh as opposed to Yahuwah. All right. But now getting back to the scriptures, we need that wisdom, knowledge, and that understanding, so that we can understand, for one, why we are in this captivity. All right. Back so I have always asked why they're on the bottom. Okay? They're always asking, why are they the ones oppressed? Why are they the ones getting shot down? Okay? We just, the United States just ended a so-called 20-year war. A 20-year war, man. But somehow more blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have been dying than the Afghanistans and the Middle Easterns who are at war with America. All right? So now let's get to this, so we can understand why, again, we need this wisdom, knowledge, and this understanding as the book of Proverbs specifies, okay? So now, also in the box, if you could, read for me the book of Proverbs chapter 2, verse 12.
12, okay. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 12. To deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh forward things.
Okay, so now to deliver you from the way of the evil man. Okay, the evil man, from the man that speaketh forward things. Okay, so now as we get into that, here's a question for the class. Historically and biblically, who is an evil man that they can think of? Go ahead, sis. Absolutely. All the heathens, but specifically Esau. Esau, our oppressor, right? That he is the evil man. Okay? He is the evil man. He is the one who has treated the children of Israel the absolute worst. Okay? What has he done? Not only did he have them in bondage, he murdered them, and he even took their identity from them, and he stole it from them, and he used it for himself. Okay? Okay, so now, have somebody look up for me the word froward. What does froward mean? We're seeing these scriptures from the man that speaketh froward things. What does that mean? What does froward mean? Let's look that up real quick. Go ahead.
Froward. Adjective of a person difficult to deal with, contrary.
Okay, so difficult to deal with, contrary. Okay, difficult to deal with, unmanageable. Oh, he's wild, right? You can even call him a wild beast, right? Uncontrollable, unmanageable, right? And we've also, what have we done? We have also described our oppressor as what? A virus. We have described him as a plague, right? And think about a virus when it gets into the body, okay? Or even think of a virus when it gets into a computer system, okay? It becomes unmanageable, becomes uncontrollable. It will take over. That is the intentions the whole time of a virus, to take over and to control. Right? That is what our oppressor is, and this is what the scriptures are telling us, right? But because of our so-called leaders who despise wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures, right? They sided with our oppressor. They sided with their enemy. And now again, here we are in this captivity. All right? Cool beans. So now let's go ahead and try to read this in the ancient Hebrew. Also in the pots, if you could. Step down and give this a shot for me. Come on. Go ahead and put these bumpers and bridges together. Take your time reading this. Okay. And also, Yahweh, I want you to take a look at this as well. See if you can read this for me. Not yet. They're also in the pod. Read it first. I'm about to finish up these bumpers and bridges. All right, here we go. So I was in the pots, if you could. Take a look at this and see if you can read it for me in the ancient Hebrew.
Laha taza yao ka.
Very good. Laha taza yalka. Good.
Badai. Badai raw.
Good. Madara.
Right.
Now hold on, slackish. Mada. Take a look at that again. Huh? Yeah.
Rock.
There we go. Mada
Oh,
rock. Good. Mada rock.
Okay. Right.
Mm-hmm.
My eye. Yash. Yash.
Okay, so now put it together.
Okay. My eye yash.
Ma'ayash. Good.
My dog bar.
Good.
I high.
Hold on. What?
Ha. Oh.
Here we go.
The ha.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The high. Hawk. Yeah. Let me walk.
Good, good, very good. Okay, so you just said Madabar Taha Pakwa. Taha Pakwa. Good, good. Also, how when you got talk to me. Mm-hmm. Very nice, very nice. His hands are all right. Reading very good, very good. I love it, I love it, I love it. Very good. So again, we just read from the book of Lashawan or Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 12. Why is it a good? What is a good reason to follow these scriptures? To have, so we can have that wisdom, that knowledge and understanding, to deliver us from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh froward things, from the man who is just so uncontrollable and so difficult to deal with, so difficult to manage. All right. So again, laha tazayalka, madarak, ra'ai, rai, ma'ayash, madavar, lahapakwa. Very nice, brothers. Very nice. Okay? So now, continuing with this scripture, all right, we have verse 13. All right? Somebody get that for me? Continuing in this chapter, verse 13. Verse 13. wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, to deliver us from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh forward things, and that same person who left the paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness. All right? Cool beings. To walk in the ways of darkness. So now earlier I asked who this evil man was. And one sister said that it was referring to a Caucasian person, right? Or the Caucasian nation, all right? Cool beings. So now, let me ask the next question is, biblically, who left the paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness? Come on in, talk to me.
The house of Israel failed to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High.
Absolutely, absolutely. But now let's stay in the context. Let's stay in the context of the class. Stay in the context of the class. Okay, we're just talking about our oppressor. So now, biblically, who left the paths of uprightness to walk in darkness? And I'm thinking of two people in particular. Uh-huh.
Would that be Adam and Solomon?
Okay, you're close when you said Adam, but no. Who left to walk in the ways of darkness? So now when we seeing this now, when you leave the ways of uprightness, okay? When you leave the ways of uprightness, you want to leave. Alright? You chose to leave. So now, who left the path of uprightness to walk in the way of darkness? Alright? So now, go ahead. Go, okay, hold on. Okay, let's give Trooper Gashan a shot. Who can this be referring to?
Would it be Judas?
That's a good one. But now, seeing how we're in the Old Testament, we're not thinking about Judas just yet. Alright, who else? Go ahead. Okay. Eve is a good one as well, but now again, looking at the context of the class, the people that I'm looking for are Cain and Esau. Cain and Esau. Alright? If it makes more sense. Okay? Why? Because Cain chose to kill his brother. Right? Why? Because he was upset because the Most High did not accept his sacrifice, did not accept his offering. So now his anger became so uncontrollable that he had to murder. Right? And now, when you think about with Esau, Esau was so upset because he gave up his birthright, because he could not control his hunger. He was so focused on his hunger, he gave up his birthright. And after which, he went to war with his brother. He sought to murder his brother for years. Right? So again, let's look at this verse and read it. I'll see how we got.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 13. Who leads the paths of righteousness to walk in the ways of darkness.
Absolutely. When you leave the paths of righteousness to walk in the ways of darkness. So now, again, thinking about to that forwardness, you're being so uncontrollable, you're doing what you want to do. You're not worried about anybody else. You don't care about anybody else. All right? And again, historically and biblically, looking at the ways of our oppressor, who are so focused on conquering, killing, and murdering, and just outright trying to take over the earth, trying to rule the earth when they do not have dominion over the earth. They should not have dominion over the earth. The Israelites were given dominion over the earth. All right? Does everybody understand?
Golfer.
No sweat. No sweat. All right. Cool beans. So now, let's get to the next scripture. Let's continue on this, right? Let's go to verse, let's go to verse 15, if you will. And I'm going to go ahead and while you read this, I will write this out in the Hebrew. Verse 15, if you will.
Proverbs chapter 2, verse 15, whose ways are crooked, and they forward in their path.
All right. So now, whose ways are crooked, and they forward in their path. Their paths cannot be controlled. Their paths cannot be dealt with. All right. Whose paths are crooked. Okay. And we have to understand that our oppressor is crooked. Our oppressor will never be straight, if you will, pun intended, the way that blacks would like to be. Okay? If we had this wisdom and this knowledge, we could understand, right, that you cannot love your way out of oppression. Okay? You cannot love your way into respect from this oppressor. Our oppressor is all about murdering. He is about power. He is essentially about war. Okay? He cares nothing about love. He doesn't want your respect. He wants your fear. Okay? And in that having your fear, guess what else he has? He has your obedience. And he has your obedience, he has your disobedience to the Most High, which will keep you in captivity and in bondage. All right? That's why we keep focusing on these scriptures. We keep focusing on Proverbs because it's telling us why we're here. It's telling us, man. But guess what? Guess where you won't hear this from? You will not hear this in church. You will not hear why you're on the bottom as a black race. You will not hear in church why the so-called Mexicans are oppressed in their own country and then have to run to the U.S. just to be oppressed again. You won't hear that. But you will hear this in the I.S.U.P.K. under Commander General Yahanna, who is teaching us and who has continued since 1969 to teach us these scriptures, these law, statutes, and commandments, and about brotherhood. All right? That is what we need. We need brotherhood, and we need to follow these scriptures so that we can have the knowledge and wisdom to get out of this captivity. All right? Cool beans. So now, let's read this in the Hebrew. Who wants to take a shot at this? Officer Laparche, you about ready? Oh, go ahead, brother, go ahead.
Verse 13, correct? Verse 13.
You know what? I didn't even write that out in the Hebrew. I went straight down to 15.
Okay, then I'll tell you where it is.
No sweat. I don't mind. We can backtrack. Huh?
I can do this 15. Don't do right. Don't do that.
I'm not. I did all this talking and all this writing. I better not erase it. No sweat. No sweat at all. All right. So let's get down to this. Finish writing this out in the ancient Hebrew. All right. And Officer Lapache, I'm going to have you read this as well. So let's get ready.
Golfer.
right, Officer Yahanna, let's go.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 15. In the Heberws, Lashawan, Yahanna,
All right. Uh-huh. Give it up for the brother. Give it up for the brother. All right. Most High Christ. Most High Christ. Give me 1 second. Absolutely, absolutely. Very good job, brother. Very good job. All right. Now, see, let me finish. I can see if I can finish writing this out for the edification of the class. All right. All right. So now, Officer in the posh, if you could. All right. No sweat. No sweat. Let's read this out again in the Hebrew from the board, okay? The book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 15, all right? Ashar, Arakah, Zayam, Iquashyam, Wana Lazayam, but my Galwatham, by my Galwatham. Very nice, man. Very nice. Very good job. And again, we have to understand that our oppressor is crooked. Okay? He can never be made straight. Alright? No pause intended. Alright? Blacks have to understand that he is your enemy. He will always be your enemy. Okay? You cannot love him to respect you. You cannot vote for him to respect you either. All right? And real quick, let's get a precept for this if I could. All right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 20. All right? And Officer Yahweh, if you could, read that for me. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 7 and 13. And the Pashkaya, if you could read that for me. Ecclesiastes 7 and 13.
Call. Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 13. Consider the work of the Most High, for who can make that straight, which he had made crooked.
Absolutely, absolutely. Consider the work of the Most High. The Most High made him like this. The Most High made him evil, made him crooked. All right? Made him hatred, made him full of hatred, and to hate you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. Okay? This is what our oppressor was made to do. Okay? So again, you cannot love him into respecting you, and you cannot vote for him. You cannot fall into his belief system. Okay? You cannot follow the ways of his society, thinking that he will love you. Okay? Interracial marriage will not get you there. All right? Being effeminate will not get you there. Okay? And being subservient to him will not get you there either. You will not get to the promised land through your oppressor. I can promise you that. All right? Most High in Christ. Now, give me 1 second. All right. So like, and we are back. We are back in full effect. Okay. So again, you cannot love yourself. You cannot love the oppressor. Okay. You cannot follow his ways, man. Now let's going back to our scriptures. We were in where? Proverbs 2, and we went over 14 as well. All right? We went over 14. What did we read? Let's see. Book of Proverbs chapter 2, verse 14. Who rejoice to do evil? Okay? As a matter of fact, let's take it from the top. Let's start from 12. To deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh froward things. Verse 13, who lead the path of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness. Verse 14, who rejoice to do evil and delight in the frowardness of the wicked. All right? So now, going back to that scripture and how we've been talking about all oppression, the one who has us in this captivity, anybody in the conference call, anybody online, how does our oppressor rejoice to do evil? How does he delight in frowardness? Hmm? Hey, go ahead, brother.
4th of July.
Absolutely, absolutely. So holidays is how he rejoices in doing evil. Absolutely, absolutely. Is there any other way that our oppressor rejoices to do evil? Officer Nabash, go ahead.
Promoting homosexuality.
Absolutely. Give the brother a hand. Promoting that abomination. For instance, Pride Week. Right?
Right.
Pride Week. That is an abomination, according to the scriptures. But in his society, what is it? It's empowerment.
Right.
But not so, again, according to the Most High. According to these scriptures. That's an abomination, man. We shouldn't be participating in that. But again, if we follow these scriptures, right? If we had that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we wouldn't be in this predicament. We wouldn't be celebrating Pride Week. Instead, we will be celebrating high holy days. Right?
Right.
We will be celebrating all blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians will be celebrating the Passover.
Right.
Okay? We will be celebrating other holidays, such as the memorial blowing of the trumpets.
Right.
Every black, Hispanic, Native Indian will be celebrating that. Okay? The Day of Atonement, other holiday, other high holy days.
Right.
We'll be celebrating the Sabbath. Why? Because we will be together and we will be resting well with each other in brotherhood, in righteousness under the Most High. But because of our oppressor, on the Sabbath, what are we doing? We're slaving. Again, we have to come back to these scriptures, man. We have to come back to these scriptures. Now, taking a look at that scripture, let's pull up a precept. Let's go to the book of Yeshaya. Let's go to the book of Yeshaya, chapter 5, verse 20. Anybody in the conference call, if they could tell me what the book of Yeshaya is. Take a look at your notes. Come on in. Chapter 5, verse 20. All right, let me hear it. The book of Yeshaya chapter 5, verse 20.
The book of Isaiah, Yeshaya, verse 5, chapter 5, verse 20.
No sweat.
Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter.
Absolutely. Woe to them that call evil good, man. What does our oppressor do? He calls abominations good. He calls abominations like pork, the new white meat. Right? He calls his effeminate lifestyle what? An alternative lifestyle. He said he calls it. He gives it like it's some kind of option. All right, it's some kind of good choice that you should make. He calls our men who are strong and masculine. He calls it toxic. Right? He calls it toxic, man. And he puts this. And what else does he do? He shows this to our children. He puts it in TV shows. He puts it in cartoons. Why? So then our children can be desensitized. They can be desensitized to this. And when they see this coming up, now all of a sudden it's just a regular thing. It's normal. Right? It's normal. But we in I.S.U.P.K, we are teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that kind of lifestyle is completely abnormal.
Right.
That's what it is. It's abnormal, and it's an abomination. It is an abomination to us and most importantly to the Most High, man. We shouldn't be participating in these kind of activities, man. All right. Now let's continue reading further in that. Let's read verse 21. Also, Yahweh, you die.
Verse 21. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight.
Absolutely. Wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight, man. Somebody look for me, if they could, look up the word prudent. Let's look up the word prudent. All right. Let's look at the word prudent.
Did you need a definition?
Yes, please. Go ahead, sis.
I have acting with or show care about the future.
What'd you find?
Acting with or showing care and thought for the future. Wise, will judge. Those would be acting.
Absolutely. So to the future, right? So now, when we have our so-called leaders who are prudent, what in their own sight, when they're thinking about their own future, they're not considering brotherhood. Okay, when they take that gift from our oppressor, right? What are they thinking about? They're thinking about their mansions. They're thinking about their Rolls Royces, right? Take for instance, Creflo Dollar, who asked for the $65 million jet, and he said he wanted to use that so he can spread the gospel. He wasn't thinking about the people who had to struggle to donate those kind of funds. He wasn't thinking about the people who have to catch buses to attend his services. Okay, he was thinking about making his pockets fatter. Okay, while Creflo Dollar's congregation lives in apartments and in Section 8 housing, Creflo Dollar lives in a mansion. Okay, he lives in an isolated mansion that, as a matter of fact, you can't even see from the street because it is surrounded by trees. All right, you have to get a drone to take a picture of his house. I was in the park. Go ahead.
They got more definition of prudent,
Mhm.
what a prudent person is.
Yes.
Shrewd in management of practical affairs. Another one, cautious, discreet,
Mm-hmm.
thrifty, and fruitful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So all those characteristics, right? But again, going to the scriptures, prudent in their own sight. They're selfish. They're only thinking about themselves. They have no brotherhood whatsoever. No brotherhood whatsoever. And woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes. All right? Again, our so-called leaders. Our so-called leaders who what? Who despise the wisdom of these scriptures. Right? They despise the wisdom and the instruction of these scriptures. And instead, they wanted to side with their oppressors. That's what they did. And again, that is why we are here in this captivity. All right? Because we're not following scriptures. We don't have that wisdom. We don't have that knowledge, man. But again, in the I.S.U.P.K, Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, under command of Yahanna, we got the truth.
Right.
We got that wisdom. We have that knowledge, man. And guess what? We want to get our people out of bondage. We want to get them out of bondage, man. We don't want to feel comfortable about being in bondage. How many of y'all are comfortable being in bondage? How many of y'all are comfortable slaving from sun up to sundown? You're just not in the cotton field now. You're in an office building.
Right.
How many of y'all are comfortable doing that, but now you're in a warehouse? Right? Or you're driving a bus. How many of y'all are really comfortable with that? I damn sure I'm not comfortable with that. Every day I hate it. Having to slave to put food on the table. Having to slave to keep heat in my house and a roof over my head and over the head of my family. How many of y'all are really comfortable with that, man? Again, you won't hear this in church, man. You won't hear this in church. I promise you won't. But church wants you to be comfortable in captivity. That's what they want. They want you to be comfortable in captivity. What they tell you? Well, you get used to it. It is what it is. But according to these scriptures, that's not how it should be. That's not how it should be, man. And if we can just start with learning Hebrew, learning our true language, learning how to read it and pronounce letters, scripture by scripture, we get closer. Scripture by scripture, we get closer, man. In the truth, man. Getting out of this captivity, man. Getting back to the promised land, man. Isn't that what you want?
Right.
I know that's what I want, man. If I can have that, I'm going to do everything in my power, man. And guess where it starts, man? It starts in these scriptures, man. It starts with brotherhood, man. It starts with these classes. Following the law class, the brotherhood class, the law class, man, history class, the Lashawan, Qadash class, man. Get with it, man, so we can get out of this captivity, man. All right? That's like it, man. Let's continue on, man. Going back to the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 15, man. All right, let's read that again. Up to the part if you could.
Something you said, Proverbs
2 and 15.
come.
As you know, it started, started verse 14.
Come. The book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 14. Who rejoice to do evil and delight in the forwardness of the wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 15. Who ways are crooked and they forward in their paths.
Absolutely, man. They're crooked, man, and they forward in their paths, man. And again, because we followed after this oppressor, man, we've lost heritage, man. We lost our culture, man. Right? Again, man, going back to these scriptures, man, is the answer is in the scriptures, man. The answers talk about our history, man. And it gives prophecy as well, man. It tells us again why we are in this captivity, in this oppression, man. Alright? And as a matter of fact, also Posh, if you could pull out Salaki, let me hear the book of Jeremiah, chapter 4, verse 22.
Alright, come. That's long. This book of Jeremiah chapter 4 verse 22. For my people is foolish.
Yeah, what?
For my people is foolish.
Okay.
They have not known me.
They have what?
They have not known me.
Okay, they have not known me. Our people, the Most High's people, blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, they are foolish. They are foolish. They have not known him. All right, go ahead.
They are Scottish children.
They are what?
They are Scottish children.
Sottish children. Can somebody in the conference call please look up the word sottish? Let's look at the word sottish. Everybody have that? Word sottish. Oh, sweet. All right. So now, looking up sottish, right? It means stupefied. Let's write it right. No sweat, no sweat. We looked up the word, okay. Right now we're in the book of Jeremiah, or Jeremiah, chapter 4, verse. Oh, no sweat, no sweat. We're looking at the word sottish. Sottish. All right. Go ahead. Absolutely, please.
Resembling a sock, drunken also, dotish, stupid.
Okay. Absolutely, right? Okay, good. Now, I looked it up as well from dictionary.com, and I was told, stupefied, with or as if with drink. Drunken. Absolutely. Our people are stupefied. Okay? And especially when it comes to the Christian church, our people are stupefied. Come on in, sis. Talk to me.
It also says, I'm the one for slang in British, and it says, disgraceful, awful, irritating, annoying as well.
Oh, wow. I like that one. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. That is perfect as well. Why? Because our people have fallen out of the good graces of the Most High. Right? That's why, again, our people, we are in captivity now, man. We've fallen out of good graces of the Most High, man. We have been stupefied by our oppressor. Okay? We have been stupefied by our oppressor, man, to believe in his lies, to believe that his way of life pertains to ours, and that it can work for us. Okay? Again, man, we have been stupefied, man. When blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians think that they can love their way out of this oppression. They can vote their way out of this oppression, man. And it's not going to happen. It will not happen.
Like it, sir.
Uh-huh.
And their physical money is their God. Money.
Absolutely.
I told y'all, praising money all the time.
Absolutely. Man, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. You're right. You're right. stupefied, man, by the love of money, man. By the love of money, man.
We do Leviticus 23, we did sin, okay?
Come.
There's a couple more days for the feast day.
All right.
That gives us an advantage. We know what we read.
Come. Okay. Absolutely. All right. So now, obviously, how would that be good? Continue reading that for me. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 20. So like in chapter 4, verse 22.
Verse 22. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are silent children. And they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge.
Absolutely, man. Wise to do evil, man. They will support. They support interracial marriage. They support Pride Week. Right? They support voting, man. They support going back into captivity. They support not knowing their culture. All right? When we at I.S.U.P.K. come into knowing the truth and we're rocking our garments, we're even rocking our medallions, and what happens, man? We catch so much help from our own people. Why are you wearing that? Are you Jewish? No. I'm a Jew. I'm an Israelite. I acknowledge who I am. I have knowledge of my identity. Who are you? Right? And we end up going into battles. Why? Because they have no knowledge to do good, man. They have no knowledge of it, man. They are solid children, man. All right? You have to understand that, man. Again, man, going back to the scriptures, man. Going back to the scripture. Having the fear of the Most High, man. So we can have that knowledge, and we will not be fools who are without wisdom and instruction, man. All right? All right, Most High Christ, man. Most High Christ. So now if I could delve off to that, from that lesson, we do have the feast of the memorial blowing of the trumpets. All right? Most High Christ. And anybody in the comments call tell me when that day is coming? Go ahead, sis.
September, Monday.
Oh no, absolutely. Monday. Come sundown. At least start around 7 o'clock. So I can. I'm not even going to assume this, but I can believe that at least my people on the conference call will be here for the feast. Correct?
It's my first one.
In the building, boy. All right, Most High Christ, man. Most High Christ. Glad to hear that. Very glad to hear that. Okay. So now, if I could, we're going to delve off in this real quick, and we're going to try to go over a couple of scriptures in the Hebrew, okay, pertaining to the feast. Why? So just in case, if you have to read for the feast. All right, Officer Napash?
Come.
Absolutely. Let's get down to it, all right? Now let's see. Where would the feast of the trumpets be? So we can read over that. Officer Napash, feel free to chime in. Okay, all right. No sweat. So now, let's go to, we're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 3. It's like chapter 23. Sister Santiva, are you with me on the live, on the feed? Okay, just on the call. Okay, no sweat, sis, no sweat. No, that's all right. It's okay. All right, man. But at the end of the day, I still appreciate you chiming in and participating in class, man. The water to you. All right, so now, Trooper Gashan, you with me? No sweat. All right. Officer Yahweh died. You still with me? All right. Cool beans, cool beans. Okay, so now we're going to focus on reading the next three scriptures. All right? In Leviticus chapter 23, verses 23 through 25. Yes, please, let me get it in English first.
Book of Leviticus chapter 23, verse 20.
All right. Continue reading, brother.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 24, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation.
All right. Keep going.
Verse 25, Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now, going over this, let's read this in Hebrew. At least one verse. All right. If we have time, we'll do a few more. All right. And see, again, we're going over scriptures that you will not hear in church. Right. We're going over scriptures that you will not touch in church, man. These are scriptures that we need to adhere to, man. That we need to follow, man. Because why? Because the Most High gave it to us, man. And nobody else. All right? All right. Now, let's try this out. Officer Napash, you could. You got the microphone. I would like you to read this one scripture in the Hebrew. Book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 23. All right?
Call. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 23 in Hebrew.
Yes.
Wayadabar, Yahweh, Al-Mashah, La'amar.
Absolutely. Very nice. Very nice, brother. Let me give you a hand for that. Very good. Very good. Something simple, I understand. Something simple, man. But again, that's how we start off Hebrews 101, man. Hebrews 101. We don't do things too fancy, man. All right? We want to make sure that people have it down packed. Now, again, why? So when you have to read for the feast, you got to read for the Sabbath, you got it covered, man. All right.
Right.
So, Wayadabar, okay? Yahweh, and today at least we're going to focus on this in the Assyrian. Why? Because it is the most predominant text, and that is the text that we will be reading from when it comes to the feast. All right. So again, Wayadabar, Yahweh, Al Mashah, La Omar. Most High in Christ. Very good. Very good. Rocky. School. All right. Try to write out another verse, another large verse. See if we'll have time to squeeze it all in. Really see if I have enough space as well. All right. Now, again, we're focusing on this verse because we do have the feast of the blowing of the memorial, the blowing of the trumpets, and it is pertaining to a feast that will be happening for us on Monday. All right. So now let's try it out. We're going to read some more. So, Officer Yahweh, you die. You with me? Now, I'm gonna still write it out in the Hebrew on the board. But if you could, I'd love to hear you read this for me in the Hebrew while I'm writing this out.
Verse 24, Hold on.
Yes.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 24. In Hebrew, the bar, al, banya, yasharal, mar, ba, Qadash, ha, sham, yahaya, akad, la, Qadash, yahaya, the come, Shabbat the one, za, one, da, rawai, ra, Qadash.
Brother. Let me give you a hand for that. And you know what? I'm almost tempted to just pass this class off to you, man. That was exceptional reading, brother. Exceptional reading. Go ahead, brother.
I am only a student of the one.
Oh, man. Very nice reading. Very nice reading. I'm very impressed. Very impressed. So I take it that you'll be able to read this just as accurately come the feast on Monday, correct?
Like Lord willing, you know what I'm saying? And all the one of you, having me good, you know what I'm saying? I'll be much obliged.
No sweat. In the building, man. Absolutely. Lord willing, man. Hopefully we can all be there, man. And again, man, when we come together in brotherhood, man, and we can really spread this truth out, we're not gonna have to worry about whether or not we can make a feast, man. We're not gonna have to worry about that. Because that will be our top priority. Every time, man. That'll be our top priority. And guess what else, man? When we're in this truth, man, and the Most High lets Yahushua run rampant on this earth, man, to take back his reign and dominion, guess what? When it comes to being part of having attended a feast day, and take for instance how also Yahweh said, well, Lord willing, I'll be there and whatnot. And chances are, also Yahweh might have a few errands to run, a few things to take care of. But now, when the promised land is going to be here in America, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are ruling alongside with Christ. Guess what? Obviously, Yahweh is going to be able to make that feast day. Why? Because he's going to have some good old servants, some good old slaves that are going to be taking care of his house for him, while he sits back and enjoys good scotch and maybe even a beer for the feast. All right? And even our come on in, brother.
Yes, I may. I'm gonna have a few hundred slaves, you know what I'm saying? Most of them gonna be from the Motiva tribe, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna want to see in action.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. That's what we're gonna have, man. That's what we want, man. That's what we want. But see, again, everything that we're speaking about, whether it sounds racist, or you're new to this conference call and you think this might be hate and whatnot, this is righteous. Okay? Everything that we speak of is righteous, and it is scriptural as well. Alright? We're not trying to harm nobody. Alright? And just in case if you didn't know, we are not affiliated with any other so-called Israelite group. Alright? We don't side with anybody. We are in the forefront. We're trying to lead. Okay? We're trying to get our people to come back home in the truth, come back to the scriptures, so that we can get out this activity. promised land. To really bring the promised land here in America, man. Back on earth, man. That's what we need, man. And again, man, you will not hear this kind of speaking in church. Alright? If you're uncomfortable with how we speak, you can always check us out, ISUPK.com. You can tune into class. You can see us at camp. And we can have a nice discussion about it. Alright? Most high Christ. Okay, so now let me finish writing this out. Let's see if we can read this again. Alright. Most high Christ. Okay, so now. Whew, that was a lot of writing. But it's easier to read. Alright. Yeah, exactly. I heard that. Okay, now Officer the Posh. Officer the Posh, if you could, take a stab at it. We already had Officer Yahanna take a shot at it. I'd like to hear you do it as well, sir.
Yeah. I believe it's 24 and, 23 and 24.
Yes.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 24.
Go ahead, let me turn your mic up a little bit more. Just for the edification of the class. Go ahead.
Gabar,
Here we go. Go ahead.
Al, Banya,
Good.
Yashal,
Good.
Lamar,
Hmm?
Qadash,
Good.
Hashab, Bai, Ya'aya,
All right.
Ba'akad. Oh, no, sorry. Ba'akad,
There you go.
La Qadash,
All right.
Hawa.
Huh?
Okay. Waha.
Take a look. Take a look.
Okay. Yaha. Ya.
There you go.
Oh, Yaha. Oh,
Yahanna. Good job.
right. The comb. Shabar. Da. Oh, sorry. Shabar. Da. One.
Okay. So I have good job so far. So I have Sha, Ba, then I got Fa, then Y and Na. And I put all that together.
Shabbat one.
There you go. Good job.
Zakar one.
All right.
The Ra. What? I. Mar. Sorry. Mar. Korah. Korath. Qadash.
All right. All right. Very good job. Very good job, man. Very good. Very good. So again, book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 24. Debar al Banya, Yasha'ala, La Amar, Bakadash, Hashabai, Yayak, Ba'akad, Lakadash, Yahaya, Lakam, Shabbathwan, Zakarwan, Barawai, Arwaya, Makwara, Qadash. Very good, very good. And what do we read? Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. All right? Absolutely, absolutely. Most High in Christ. And guess what? Come Monday, we will do that exact same thing. Okay? We will have a feast for the memorial blowing of the trumpets. All right? We will celebrate. We will celebrate we will celebrate the Most Most High power, okay? We will celebrate Yahweh, okay? We will celebrate our history, okay? Knowing that we have our identity, our true culture, us being Israelites, coming from the 12 tribes of Israel, all right? Most High Christ. You have something to bring out?
Oh yeah, since Monday is a Labor Day, so-called present holidays, and there's a precept that why you should be here Monday nights. It'll be Leviticus chapter 23, verse 25. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No servile work, man. If you can help it. If you can help it, man. You know? And of course, again, being in the truth, man, we're going to celebrate this. This is what we're about, man. Following these scriptures, man. Again, the fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. Excuse me, it's like the beginning of knowledge. All right? When we have that wisdom and that understanding, then guess what? We will not be fools, right? We will have wisdom. We will have the instruction and knowledge pertaining back to our scriptures, our heritage, our culture, our true identity, right? And we will understand this book, and we will also understand the Most High, man. All right? And again, we can get out of this captivity and get out of this oppression and get back to the promised land. All right? And with that, we'll pass the class to Officer Nafashkaya.
These are I.S.U.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.K start out 1 West 125th Street, Hall, New York. Room for a new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister come to the school, they are living for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to set themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. By I.S.U.P.K, that means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department and teacher. Priest fund, free will out for a priest not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give. The next holy convocation, this upcoming Monday, is the feast of the memorial of the blowing trumpet. This upcoming Monday night, sundown. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boot, shirt, pant, headband, and start. With that, men of Israel, Mighty, give worker a salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, I.S.U.P.K, I.S.U.P.K, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakatah.
How about Shimon Shah?
What I said to you in the Hebrew, but translated in English. May the Most High bless you in the name of Christ. Yahanna. Okay, we got one sister in the class. Give one salute to sister. Men of Israel, I.S.U.P.K, I.S.U.P.K, Barak, Yahweh Shabbat Adonai B'Shem Yahushua. What I said to you in the Hebrew, you translate in English. May the Most High wash over you in the name of Christ. Yahanna. Class dismissed.